Welcome to this week's episode of the Oregon Minute. Today we are interviewing Randy Glysch about fundraising projects, including the new library and the J.C. Park renovation. Welcome, Randy.
Well, thanks. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the event that took place over the weekend. At the time of this recording, that would be Saturday, July 25th.
Correct.
So it's for the new library,
Right.
And the goal was 25,000, but
So we kind of labeled it 25 on 25, July 25th, and the goal was to raise 25,000 in one day. And really, because we had been silent because of the pandemic, and we just sort of felt it was time to sort of relaunch, that people needed something positive to do and to have a little fun with the Broadfest. So we had people, it was a day of giving, and people were to go to the website and make a donation toward the library. And then a couple hours at Ziggy's here in town, we had the Broad sale. So we can talk more. It was very, I mean, 25,000 was our goal. We thought, can we do it in one day? Well, we made, I had the total, the final is $80,800.
And were you expecting that turnout amid the pandemic?
I thought maybe as it sort of got started, that maybe we could get to 50, but I didn't expect $80,000, which is for one day.
Do you know how many people came through the event?
Well, through the brats, so the first hour, we sold 600 brats. And I was there directing traffic through Ziggy's. And they had it down. We had 2 lanes of traffic. So 600 brats in an hour. We wanted to make sure it was safe for people, so it was a drive-through. Everybody, all the volunteers were wearing masks, so no one had to get out of their car. And I think, let's see, how many hot dogs? Like 300 hot dogs, I think. And then we had chips and water. And we got all that stuff donated. Metcalf's donated the brats. Ziggy's provided the hot dogs and some of the other things. Some of the local businesses, Hy-Vee donated 30 cases of water. So all that was profit for us, which helped the total. And it was a hot day, but people came out. We had cars backed up in the street. So it was phenomenal.
And so how did that impact you after the event?
It makes, for me, as being involved in these, it makes me feel really good about the community, because we're trying to raise $4 million for a $10 million library. And so I think it made me feel good that I think that we were right, that people needed to do something positive, get them out of the house a little bit, even if they had to stay in their car. But they did a really good thing. And it sort of reinforces what I kind of knew, that if you ask this community, based on other projects, they will step up. They will step up and help, and they did. People were just so thrilled by the end of the day.
Where did a majority of donations come from? I know there was one that came from Oregon Community Bank. There were several others that came from various
Oregon Community Bank gave a donation. State Bank of Cross Plains.
For how much each?
Each were $5,000. Findorf gave a donation of $10,000. And then, to our surprise, some of the volunteers that were there, husband and wife, handed me a check for $25,000, which was phenomenal. So we knew it was going to be a good day. We had approached some businesses and banks ahead of time, to kind of a pre-donation. So we knew we were in pretty good shape, but when we got that check, so I want to tell you a little story. Just before I got here, I got an email from a mom. Her son wants to sell his toy on eBay and give the proceeds to the Day of Giving, which is wonderful. Sell one of his toys. So that's the type of people that we have.
So you said around 88,000 now,
Yes.
but that number could still
Yeah, I mean,
increase
because
at some point.
anybody can go to the library website and donate. I mean, that's what we're hoping. This is kind of relaunching. We still have a long way. We got a couple $1 million to go yet before we're there.
So that leads me into my next question is, we know the deadline for this has been extended to December
Right.
of this year. After this event, how confident are you that the capital campaign will meet its $4 million goal?
Well, we're gonna do everything that we can.
Do you have any more events planned?
So right now we're sort of we had to take a little break for a couple days. A lot of us were exhausted, the steering committee and all the volunteers, and so we're looking at doing something virtual, like there's things like you can do a 5 or 10K run virtually and things like that. I mean, we want to be because of the pandemic, we want to be sensitive to sort of that sort of thing. So we're just starting to investigate some things like that, but there will be some other things. We've also been approached by some other community members. There's an artist who does pottery. He would like to be able to sell it maybe out in Triangle Park. 100% of the proceeds go to the library. We got approached by another local photographer who has been taking a lot of outdoor pictures with families. She's donating half the proceeds of those sessions to the library. So our hope is that there's going to be several things happening at once because we do have that December deadline. So we're going to do our best as much as we can. And we're still, trying to talk to individual donors because that's not finished yet. There's still a lot of people to talk to.
So then that brings us, in addition to the new library, there's
Yeah.
also, of course, the J.C. Park renovation.
Right.
Is there anything in the works for that? Any events?
So the group, and I'm sort of trying to help them as well. We did get, so the goal for the J.C. Park group is to come up with $500,000, and they have a little over half of that already, that group. So I think they're meeting next week to sort of regroup again because of the pandemic. Everybody had to sort of put things on hold and sort of regroup and, what's the next step for that group as well. So we'll know more about what's next for J.C. Park next week.
So, what is the status of that project? Are monies still coming in, or?
I haven't heard of anything big coming in. I think everything's just sort of been so quiet. But I'll know more about next week when we meet with village staff and the other organizations, because they all have not been playing either. So everything's been so quiet.
You alluded to this at the beginning of the interview, but what do you think the community being active in these projects, what do you think this says about Oregon as a whole?
I think the people of this community are willing to invest in the community. I mean, sort of see it as a library. All these projects, J.C. Park, everything we've done before, the food pantry, is all, in my mind, an investment in this village. I mean, this is a great place to live. Got great schools. People love to live here, and I think people want good things, like the library, a good library, J.C. Park, to play sports and things. So I think it's investment. People are willing to invest. So I think we'll do it. We've done it so far. We've had some great projects that have happened.
We talked about the Brat event from July 25th.
Yeah.
We talked about the library and the JC Park renovation projects. Is there anything that I missed that you feel is worth mentioning?
I mean, I think those are the library obviously is the big thing. And then, you know, from the village's perspective as a trustee, I mean, we're looking at down the road a new village hall, a new senior center, things like that. So there's some more, what I would say, investment in the village. And, you know, we've heard there's some projects, potentially some new affordable housing projects, 2 of them potentially. So I think, you know, addressing the needs of what we need in the community, not making it so people can't live here, but making it a great place as it is, but continuing to make it a great place to live. That's what we're trying to do.
A little bit of a side note.
Yeah.
One thing I remember from the most recent village board meeting, it was the water impact fees discussion.
Yeah, which are going down actually.
Yeah, and by 2035, the village is projected to be at, the population is projected to increase to 15,000
Right.
people. So when you mention meeting the needs of those people, it's like as the population increases, you know,
Yes.
that'll just
Yeah.
kind of incentivize
And, you know, it's the
that.
same thing about the new schools that we're building, addressing those needs. I mean, a lot of people want to live here because of the schools. So we have to keep up with those sorts of things. I mean, and we have to, as we grow, we have to add, you know, or replace, or like the new library. It's too small. And I think people expect those sorts of things, and that's what we have to invest in the community if we want people to live here.
Thank you for viewing this week's episode. As always, tune in every Thursday at 7 p.m.